Welcome. I am Les Roy Williams. Today I am joined by Prime Minister of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris. Prime Minister Harris will be discussing several issues that are pertinent to national development. Prime Minister Harris, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me, sir.
Prime Minister Harris, your government has pledged that it is open to foreign direct investment. What is the government's policy on foreign direct investment?
My government is welcoming to foreign investors to St. Kitts and Nevis. As a small island state, if we are to advance as speedily as we would wish and as comprehensively as we would want, we would need to have foreign direct investment. In that regard, one can say that that particular conception of development was well established by Sir Arthur Lewis, who won the Nobel Prize in economics and, as it were, is a trailblazer. Now, in welcoming foreign direct investment, we have to be clear about what kind of investment we want. In what sectors of the economy would that investment come? And importantly, events over the last week indicate that we have to be careful about the type of investor. We want a foreign investor coming to St. Kitts and Nevis to have an understanding of who we are as a people, that we are in fact attempting to construct and develop an ennobling civilization, that our people are proud and free. And so we will not countenance investors who come and believe that their money give them a pass into our lives, give them a pass to insult our national pride, our leaders, our people, our institutions of state. And so that would be some of the major conditions that will determine who would be especially welcome to participate in our country. Our dignity must never be compromised. There was a popular song in Trinidad which says, in part, that the singer preferred to die with her dignity. And as we pursue development, challenging as it is, we have to draw a line in the sand in terms of the persons who will come. Because many may come, but not all would have good intentions. And so, in a nutshell then, they have to fit into the ethos of our country and our people. They have to be respectful to our culture, our values, and our institutions. If we have that kind of investor who want to participate in our economic life, we say welcome. Come work with us and work with us in partnership and with respect.
Now, why is it important for your government to ensure that local farmers have a stake in the future cannabis industry?
For us, that is critically important. If our local farmers and our local people are not going to become the principal beneficiaries of this new industry, then it will not be worth the effort. We look at our history, and history critically important as you deal with the issues of development. We have long been a people in the Caribbean region who have been at the periphery of our own development. We have been left out. And we have a chance now with this new industry on the horizon to set in train the kinds of system that will protect and empower our people. And people's empowerment is fundamental to the Team Unity's Good Governance platform. That is why we went into an election indicating fair share and prosperity for all, and of course the good governance as the twin side of the coin to that particular agenda. For our people, we must take charge. We must become owners. We must be able to determine our own destiny. And we cannot do that simply as serving as workers. It is clear that we cannot continue to be hewers of wood and drawers of water. That is not the legacy that Team Unity wants to leave behind. And as we attempt to consecrate the future, we will ensure that the ordinary son and daughter of St. Kitts and Nevis is a major participant in the socio-economic affairs going forward. So fundamentally, without the people being owners, major owners, then it will not be worth the effort. For development requires that there be substantial and substantive transformation in the way of life of our people. We want the people to own. Yes, there will be employees, but fundamentally, we must be owners so that we own decisions that are being made in our own national interests.
Now, in the last sitting of Parliament, your government, the government which you lead, introduced the Cannabis Bill 2019. And in your statement in Parliament, you said that St. Kitts and Nevis, this Cannabis Bill is different to the other countries in the Caribbean. Could you elaborate a little bit on this?
Thank you. Those countries within the CARICOM community that have gone before us in terms of the legislative agenda are Jamaica, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Vincent and the Grenadines went last there. And having examined their models, we note that they have been restrictive in terms of the breadth of coverage. Generally speaking, there are three broad areas associated with cannabis, marijuana uses: medicinal, religion, and recreation. None of those legislative framework covers the full gamut of those three broad areas. Our own bill will in fact cover medicinal use, it will cover for religious use, and it will cover for recreational use. In that regard, then, we will cover the full gamut of opportunities and uses with respect to cannabis. So we will have gone further and become, as a result of that, the most modern in terms of the view and the most inclusive, importantly, because by going the full gamut, we have taken note of the special interest, if you will, of different users within the community. Those who wanted to cure their pain, for example, and therapeutic purposes, those who would say we need this for our own religious practices, and those who do it, as it were, for recreational or fun purposes. Of course, in the context of maintaining an orderly society and respect for each person, with respect to recreational use, we certainly would stipulate that that use must be in private space, in the home, not in our schools, not in our hospitals, not in 4th Street, not in the restaurants. We will give then respect to the constitutional right to freedom of expression, freedom of conscience, etc., in relation to that.
Now, tourism has become the mainstay of the St. Kitts and Nevis economy. Since 2005, we finished away with the sugar industry, and now we are in a tourist-based economy. Recently, you toured the construction site of the second cruise pier with the Minister of Public Infrastructure. What impact is the second cruise pier going to have in the economy and the tourism industry here in St. Kitts and Nevis?
It will have a major impact, and I was happy to have been invited by the Minister of Public Infrastructure, the Honorable Ian Patches Liebert, to make the tour, accompanied by the Honorable Minister of Tourism, Mr. Lindsay Grant. And it was really an eye-opener for me in many respects, both in terms of the substantial work that has already been completed. That facility is 60% completed, and that is important in terms of the progress. And the expectations are that the second cruise pier will be completed on time, and we are wishing for that. In fact, we would prefer that it is completed ahead of time, but we are making good progress. For me, it was a real beautiful sight to see our nationals and residents who were there delivering the work, and to hear their supervisors indicate that they have made such substantial progress because the quality of workmanship that require some careful engineering work, quality standards being adhered to, that our people had excelled and are doing very well. So that to me speaks well to the capacity and capability of our Kittitian people and Nevisian people, and it is important that we keep it that way. The talent, the pool of talent is real, and it is strong in St. Kitts and Nevis. More specifically in relation to the issue, we are aware that we have made fantastic progress in cruise tourism. We have, over the last 2 years, retained the designation of a marquee port, and we are the only one within the OECS to have been given such a designation in recent vintage. We have moved the cruise arrivals from just over 600,000 thereat, at the highest point in time, before Team Unity, to now well over 1.1 million persons. So we are almost doubling the arrivals, and that is phenomenal. And nowhere else can boast over a similar period to have achieved this kind of positive development that has become our history now, and we want that to continue. I speak to the geometric rise, if you will, in cruise tourism arrivals to indicate that the demand is high, and if we were not able to get the second cruise pair, we would not have been able to provide the kind of environment that would have been conducive to the ongoing growth and development of the sector. We need to ensure that those who visit has excellent experiences, and the second cruise pair would certainly deliver on that. It would allow us to be unique in that we will be able to host, alongside our peers, two of the largest cruise ships in the world at any one time. And there are few destinations that could afford that experience. That then gives us a competitive advantage. So we are moving significantly with respect to that. But also important will be the second phase of activity, which you may call the upland development, the spatial areas which will be created for tourists, for craft vendors, and all those other persons who make a living from tourism. More opportunities will be provided for them to earn more as a result of the cruise facility which we are now developing. So this is very good news for St. Kitts and Nevis. We are moving ahead, and we are going faster than any other country in terms of our arrivals in cruise tourism. And for us, it is also a signal achievement, because for the last 20 years before us, this was being promised and it was not delivered. Within 4 years, we have done that which could not have been done in 20 years. The comparison, of course, is that Team Unity is much better for the country, and we will continue to work hard to deliver for the people of this country, enlarge the space of economic opportunities for every Kittitian and every Nevisan and everyone who resides here.
Now, Prime Minister Harris, we have seen a social policy where your government has introduced a $500 stipend to households in St. Kitts and Nevis making less than $3,000. This has never happened before. It is referred to as the Poverty Alleviation Program. What is your government's rationale behind the Poverty Alleviation Program?
The quickest answer would be to say that a promise made, a promise being kept. The truth is, in 2015, in our manifesto, we highlighted this particular initiative, the $500 assistance program, as critical to the enhancement of the quality of life of the ordinary people. As we walked the alleyways of Basseterre, of Old Road, of Phillips, and Tabernacle, too many persons were saying, "Bossman, nothing now go on for us. Look how we live." How they were living was in a situation of want. No electricity, no food, not being able to deal with some of the basic amenities. And we came up with a response. And we wanted to be fair to the taxpayers of the country to ensure that it was not open in a manner that it can be abused. And so we said, listen, we could say to ourselves that at least with $3,000 a month, the ordinary folk would be able to live at a certain level of decent living. That was critical to us. They should be able to eat their food. They should be able to maintain their electricity and water in their homes. And no one in St. Kitts and Nevis should ever have to go without health care, their prescriptions being filled because they just can't afford it. And taking all of those variables into account, we came up with this winning initiative, in my view. Winning for the individual whose dignity remains intact. Winning for the country that can showcase to the rest of the world we are prepared to go further than any other country to alleviate poverty in our land.
There have been questions of the sustainability of the program. My question to you is the program going to be further reviewed?
First, the program is very sustainable because, again, we have set a critical threshold for participation, so it is not an open sesame. And as persons move and earn more in their particular household, over time, the demand on the program is likely to reduce. And we are working really to create these opportunities. We talked before about the COOSPARE. We could talk about all the economic programs. In the end, they should create better working conditions, higher pay for people. Therefore, there is a natural attrition of the persons who have to rely upon this particular program.
Dr. Harris, what is the vision?
In terms of the review, we have said that this has been novel, innovative program that impacts over 4,000 families or thereabout, significant. And we have determined that over time, we will deal with some of the issues that have come up to reconstruct a program that is much more beneficial and sustainable and equitable, if you will. So we have recognized that there have been cases where you have had more than one person in a household applying for the assistance. The assistance is specifically targeted at one beneficiary for each household. We have spent the last 4 months conducting the necessary research, investigations, if you will, with a view to tidying up the list so that there is equity and there is consistency in the application. These developments will make the program stronger and better. And over the last 4 years, we have been ensuring that the country grows, that more jobs are available, and the social security statistics are revealing the success we have had there, where employment, the number of persons who are listed as contributors to the scheme have increased significantly. These developments, working together, will help to protect the sustainability of the program. And to the extent we keep the country growing well, then we can all be assured that this program will last for as long as is necessary. We are hoping that we will reach to that stage in our second term where less and less persons have need to resort to this program, because the developments which are taking place now and which will continue should put our people in a better place.
Now, Prime Minister Harris, the Basseterre High School has been a long and contentious saga. With the building of the new Basseterre High School, what is your government's vision for a St. Kitts and Nevis where education plays a vital role?
The Basseterre High School is a school of the future. Whatever has been the sordid past of neglect by the former administration, we are now at a place where the Team Unity government will deliver a modern Basseterre High School with all the amenities and support services that make teaching and learning particularly a warm and friendly experience for all. And it will provide, because it's about an inclusive education, we will ensure that it has appropriate services for those of our students who are differently abled. We will ensure that in that modern school of the future, no student is left behind. And we will cater for the fact that we now want people not just who are excellent at academics, but the technical and vocational skills have to be developed. And whatever is the talent of the student, our educational system must help them to explore that talent and to bring joy to themselves and their nation from becoming experts in that particular area. And so I feel a deep sense of satisfaction that in the design of the new Basseterre High School, for example, we recognize that music moves the world and music pulls all of us, but our young persons mostly. And we have provided in that school for 2 music centers to be available because we want to hone the talent of the young people that are musically inclined. We have provided in that particular design for a swimming pool to come at some point in time. Again, we want whatever the talent is for it to shine in our school and in our community. The Basseterre High School then will become the model to which all other islands look as to how you could create a secondary education program that speaks to the future ennoblement of our young people, the future in which our young people are best equipped to meet the challenges of today and tomorrow. That is what we have always longed for from our investment in education. It must ready our people to be productive and responsible citizens, to play their role as leaders and movers and shakers in our society. So we have come a long way from that saga which started way back in 2011, 2012, when our teachers and students suffered at the last location, where I was impacted when one teacher, Jennifer Williams, at Basseterre High School, had to bear her body to show to the world that I was being affected by what was taking place at the Basseterre High School old location, and we shouldn't be there. I was equally impacted when a Kimberly Knight, I think her name was, spoke to her experience as a student at that last location. Team Unity got in and quickly removed. Within the first year, we were able to properly house the students and teachers again in a central location and to bring the school together again for the first time. We have not stopped there. We remain committed to bringing to the fore this modern edifice in which education can properly take place. The talk about the aquifer is now a non-issue. There is no controversy. All the experts have indicated that the appropriate provisions have been made and there is no risk and no threat except by those who want to be malicious in manipulating public opinion. We will do what is best for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, and building this school is what is best for the future of St. Kitts and Nevis. Thank you.
Now, Prime Minister Harris, before we go, I would like to ask you, what is your vision for a St. Kitts and Nevis for the next 10 years?
A country that is growing and which our people are included in that growth and development. Our single most important challenge is how do we move the country along with a way that everyone can appreciate that they are part of a progressive St. Kitts and Nevis, and they are working hard to deliver a better St. Kitts and Nevis. And as a result of their efforts, they are getting a fair share of the rewards. And a fair share is not just related to the context of the government and the delivery of government program, but must be reflected everywhere. The private sector taking best care of its employees, and the employees are able to share in the profits is critical to the notion of a fair share. There are persons who are out there doing volunteer work. They are also contributing to nation building, and they have to be recognized and appropriately rewarded. We want a St. Kitts and Nevis to be one in which each and every citizen is endeavoring to do his or her best, and each and every one is included in the prosperity for St. Kitts and Nevis.
Well, Prime Minister Harris, I want to thank you so much for coming and sharing with residents and citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis what your government has termed the prosperity agenda.
Thank you, sir.